Oh, this is tough because if we're really going to look at their expectations, it could almost be below
Yeah,
expectation.
because they should be top two.
But that's so harsh.
They should be top two in most weeks, I think.
Yeah.
I think
I'm going to do it. I'm going to give them a 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
Just because
Max has been so good to watch.
can Max get anything other than a... Can he get a 10?
He's got it.
Nah.
I thought he could.
Oh,
Really,
well, should we give him a 9 as a bloke?
no, mate.
Hey,
I'm gonna
come
have to. I'm
on,
gonna
the
put
boy.
Mac in Rome on here. I reckon. He's been pretty stinky.
Actually, I'm going K-Mag. Keep the car on the track, mate.
The half he's beating some of the boys, so that's pretty.
Yeah, Grosjean's coming 21st out of 20. So, pretty average, mate. I want to lift there.
Queensland,
it's a miracle! Oh yeah! What about that one? Unbelievable! Balotelli, Aguero! Crowd cheers. Here's Siddle. Oh, that ball is close. He's given him. He's given him. Peter Siddle's got a hat-trick on his birthday.
Welcome back to episode 53 of the On the Ball podcast. Well, not welcome back to episode 53. This is the first time episode 53 has happened, but welcome back to the show. Today we are joined by Peanut or Alexander. I can't call saying Alexander.
No.
Welcome, Peanut. How are we, mate?
Yeah, I'm great, mate. Doing well in lockdown. Trying to keep busy, but keen to be back on the show. For appearances have gone up quickly since my first arrival. I think.
Yeah,
but,
they have.
Very happy to be back. That's for sure.
Yeah, no. So we're back. I think it was your first appearance that we talked about F1.
Yeah.
Or it might have been your second, I don't know. But we are back here to talk about that sport today. Well, some people don't call it a sport, but it is. So
We'll cop it.
So we're going to just go similar thing, really. So there's been another block of 3 races. So we've had the British Grand Prix, then we had the 70th anniversary Grand Prix, and then we had the Spanish Grand Prix on the weekend. So we're going to go through, same like we did last time. We're going to go team by team, give them a rating out of 10, just discuss how their last 3 weeks have gone. Then we might give out a few awards for the last 3 weeks. And then at the end, because it's the middle of the season, basically, we're 6 out of 13 races, I think. So we might hand out some mid-season awards, just nothing too well thought through or anything, but we'll just chat our way through it. First of all, are you enjoying this season?
I think it's a bit on and off. I think if the Mercs were a couple of seconds slower, I think it'd be absolutely elite. Seeing some of the middle teams kind of showing they're pretty quick, like Racing Point, McLaren, and Ferrari kind of dropping off, kind of brought them back to everyone as well. So if it happened to the Mercs as well, I think that would have been a pretty awesome season to watch. But I mean, apart from Mercs out the front most weeks, it's been pretty good seeing like the rest.
Yeah, it has.
The rest. So I mean, that's always something you can be happy about.
Yeah, pretty much at the moment, you've just got to forget about the top 3 and just focus on like 4th. And it's been a pretty good season.
Yeah,
but I'm actually, in terms of the schedule, I'm actually loving the 3 weeks on, 1 week off, 3 weeks on, 1 week off.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Normally, there's like, I don't know exactly what it normally is, but because I haven't followed the sport too much before this season, but I'm pretty sure it's usually 1 race and they have 2 or 3 weeks off, then 1 race, and it's kind of hard to continuously follow it.
I think it's mostly every other week, but I think there might be something where it changes.
Yeah, and I think they have a mid-season break where they have like a month off in like July. So yeah, although it's not too dissimilar in terms of like 3 races in a month or something like that, 3 races in 5 weeks. But yeah, I don't know. I'm frothing the back-to-back because you can just froth it for 3 weeks and take a fortnight off, come back to it. Where I like last year in 2018, I found it hard to kind of maintain fanship over such a long season with gaps in between each race.
Yeah, it's kind of like, is it on this week? Is it not?
Yeah,
no clue.
Yeah, but I'm liking this. I'm not sure how the fixture works in the next 7 races. I don't know if it's 4 and then 3 and then 4, or there's just like a standalone race or something. I know one of the race weekends, I don't know how they're doing it, one of the Italian ones. So 3 of the 7 are in Italy coming up. Yeah. One of them is like a 2-day race weekend. So I think they're doing two practice sessions and qualifying in one day, or they might be qualifying on the morning of the race, which would be
that'd be
pretty
elite.
crazy.
That'd be
Which I actually don't mind that.
Yeah.
Um,
Looking
but
at the dates, we've got Belgium next week,
yeah,
Italy the week after, and
Yeah.
Italy again the week after that. I can't see. I go full schedule here. Hopefully they just keep bringing them on.
Well,
We've got a couple weeks between. Oh, we might have 2 weeks between the second Italy and then Russia.
I think there's actually 2 weeks between the next 2 races. Like from race 9 to 10, there's 2. From race 10 to 11, there's 2. And then race 11 to 12, there's 2. So it looks like it kind of goes back to last year's schedule.
Yeah.
And then the last race, there's a week out. But we'll get to that when we get to it. I'm sure we'll have episodes on all of those portions of the season. But I reckon we just get into the last 3 weeks review. We'll go alphabetical order once again. So we'll start with the Alfa Romeo. Once again, they've been pretty mythical. They pretty much just hold the back of the grid in front of Williams and sometimes Haas. That's all they do, really. Yeah, Kimi's been all right. For them, in the races, they're actually not too bad. But then they really struggle in qualifying. I think it was the 70th anniversary Grand Prix where they were in the back row of qualifying. But yeah, every race they seem to get up to around 14th, 15th, 16th on race day. So it seems for them, like most of the other teams with Ferrari engines, to be honest, is that their issue is just pace in the qualifying.
Yeah, no, Antonio had 14th in week 1 of the 3 we're talking about, so
yeah,
not bad, but yeah, I don't think they're producing anything special or looking too flashy, so I don't know.
Yeah, not too good, is it? But they didn't get any points in the last 3 weeks, but that's probably to be expected. A top 10 finish from them on a regular occurrence is probably a bit ambitious.
Yeah,
they're a tough one to rate because it's like that we don't have much expectation for them. I think I talked about this on the last one, but I don't know why I'm frothing at the moment doing like a Brownlow type 3-2-1, 5-4-3-2-1 system for pretty much every sport I watch. So I'm doing it for like 7 sports at the moment, but I have been doing it for F1.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's very tough to do it for F1 because I don't just go position 1, 5 votes. I take into account their expectations. So in terms of that, Raikkonen copped 1 vote on the weekend. Giovinazzi hasn't copped any. In the last 3 weeks. And then Alfa Romeo actually, they copped 1 on the weekend as a team, but they don't think they really stood out too much. They got 14th and 16th, nothing special. But yeah, in terms of rating out of 10, what are you looking at?
Look, have been probably the team I've been least interested in, so I haven't put out too much of a for them, but I think they are kind of just sitting around that 5. I think, just doing what they're there to do at this stage. They're just really nothing exciting. Just sitting around 15th or so on average from the looks of things. So it's like, you don't really expect that thing to fly, especially with the Ferrari engine being terrible.
Yeah.
So I think they're doing all right, but I don't think they're doing above or below what we're expecting them to produce.
On a scale out of 10, is 5 average or is 7 average? It's like, it's so confusing because everyone treats it as 7, but it's just it should be 5.
Yeah.
So what should we go with?
Like, it's just like, they're doing
they're meeting expectation.
Yeah, they're just hanging around that mark.
All right, so we'll say 5 is like meeting expectation or average. So I'm just going to give them exactly 5 then. Because as you said, I think they're hitting exactly where we would expect them to. They've had 1 points finish so far, which I think would probably be like what we would guess for them.
Yeah.
And they haven't had too many DNFs, which is always a positive for a lower level team. They only had 1 DNF in the first race of the season, and they hadn't had any the last 3 weeks. So, as we said, they just need up qualifying, and they're doing all right. But I would go 5 out of 10. Nothing special from them.
The first race when there was like 11 people left.
Exactly. Came like 3rd last, got 2 points.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, it's a bit dodgy.
Very
But yeah, so I reckon fives all round. I reckon.
standard.
So that's enough for the Alpha. Really, not too much to talk about on their point. Then the Alpha Tauri is next, with the Honda engine that Red Bull use, obviously.
Yeah.
What did you think about these boys?
I think Gasly has absolutely produced this year. That man is.
Yeah.
I think he's getting some eyes onto him, really showing that he's pretty good. I think, what was it, the 70th Kvyat got him by a posse. But I think overall,
Yeah, I think so.
Gasly's
Yeah.
been much better, much better. I think qualifying he's been pretty quick.
Yeah, he qualified 7th in the 70th Grand Prix, and then 10th and 11th in the other two. Meanwhile, Kvyat's been like 16th, 12th, and then 1 week he got punished and started from 19th. So Gasly in those standings, I was talking about my votes thing. Gasly's actually polled every single week. So he is smashing it, as you suggested.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because maybe he does get bad press, but we just don't think it because we like him. But I feel like Albon's not copying the same scrutiny as Gasly copped when he was in the Red Bull last year.
Yeah.
Because I think Albon is doing a equal, if not worse, job than what Gasly was doing, and everyone was calling for Gasly's head. And maybe they're living to regret that decision because Gasly looks like he's a serious driver. And
yeah, he's a man on.
Could be.
I think this year.
Yeah, if Albon's not lucky, if Albon's like not careful, Gasly could be looking at that seat next year. I don't know like what the contract situation is, but I'm pretty sure because they're signed to Red Bull, they can just swap them whenever they want.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think
Gasly's in fine form.
Yeah, I think they're probably holding out for Albon to maybe see if he can push a bit better in qualifying with a bit more experience, I reckon. Because in the race, he seems to be an overtaking machine. Like
he's good.
He just mows through everyone, and then. But yeah, I think they're just trying to see if Albon can qualify highly, and then if he can keep it up in a race. And I think that's the thing that they didn't really get around Gasly for. I think Gasly's racing, whilst he was in the Red Bull, was pretty sloppy and pretty average.
Yeah, AlphaTauri had a pretty good month though. For me, in the last 2 Grand Prix, they actually copped four votes for the constructors standing. So I'm gonna have to get around them here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give them an 8 because they're beating teams like Renault, even sometimes the Ferrari.
Yeah,
and you just wouldn't expect them to beat those teams.
I think Gasly beat Albon in one of these races just gone.
Yeah, and he beat Norris. I think they've beaten some of the McLaren boys a couple times. So I think they've really had a great 3-week stretch, to be honest. So yeah, I'm going to give them an 8.
Yeah,
I think they've been pretty awesome.
7 or 8's pretty good for them. Pretty accurate. I mean, they had the 70th. Yeah, the 70th. They were 10th and 11th, which was probably a touch disappointing for them after seeing what they can produce this year.
Yeah.
So they only copped the 1 point there, but yeah, I think the weekend just gone. Gasly won behind Albon, and then I think Kvyat kind of missed out. Yeah, 12th behind Ricciardo and Norris, but I think they've done a lot better than what people were expecting for sure.
Yeah, I thought they would have been in that lower tier with Haas and Alfa Romeo, to be honest.
Yeah.
But they're well and truly in that midfield pack, although they are losing the battle out of the middle. They're only 20 points behind Renault and only like 45 or something behind Ferrari, which they would take any day of the week. So that's it for Alpha. Next, speaking of Ferrari, we are addressing them next. This is another tough one because it's like, have we adjusted our expectations of Ferrari now that we know the car's not fast, or are we still going with like the pre-season expectations?
I think I've adjusted because I think if we're looking at drivers and stuff, as much as the car can do, I think Leclerc's been driving the wheels off the thing pretty well until the weekend.
Yeah, I think he's been pretty close to the driver of the year.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he would be number 1, but he's right up there for that. He's been awesome.
Yeah, 3rd at Silverstone 1, and then 4th at the 70th, and then his car shat itself on the weekend just gone.
Yeah,
it's like, what he could have done with that, who knows? But yeah, he's been for the quality of that car this year, he's been absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, and a lot of the weeks he's not starting from the greatest of positions, with qualifying not being too great with that car. But like for the 70th Grand Prix, for example, he went from 8th to 4th. And then on the weekend, I think I can't remember exactly, but I think he was in an all right position when his car decided to die. I have to say though, on the weekend, I got the vibe that the car could have gone back out, but they were like, "Oh, we're going to come last," so we'll avoid the embarrassment of that. But I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Obviously, I wasn't in the garage.
Well, I mean, his 4th at the 70th, he was the only one that had like a 2-stop strategy or something. He somehow came 4th. Like,
Yeah,
he had to stop extra than everyone else in the top 10, and he's just missed out on the podium by a posse. And that's pretty crazy. If you think about it, spending extra 30, 40 seconds in those pits.
Yeah, I think Leclerc, looking at my votes now, I think Leclerc actually has the most votes out of anyone in the last 3 weeks. He got 4 votes in both the British and 70th.
Yeah.
And then I actually gave Vettel 4 votes on the weekend. I thought that car putting it into 7th was a pretty good effort.
Yeah.
And he was wrestling with his engineers all race.
Yeah, they weren't
arguing
really
and stuff. Yeah.
I don't rate the bloke at all, but I think what he was saying on the weekend was pretty accurate. He's asking how the tyres were, and then 6 laps later, they asked him, how are your tyres feeling, and he's like, well, I just asked you that,
Yeah.
I think that's a bit harsh on the bloke, and it could have maybe brought him up, 5th or 6th or something. Never know, but
yeah, and I know every team does this, but it's pretty clear that Leclerc's getting the better strategy, and Vettel's kind of the test dummy a lot of the time.
Yeah, he's kind of.
But I think Vettel's doing okay with it. But yeah, once again, he's really struggling in qualifying, and that's letting him down.
Yeah, the Ferrari engines just can't do it. Can't keep up.
Yeah, in terms of a rating, what would you be looking at here? This is hard, actually. I don't.
Ferrari.
Yeah.
I think if Vettel was producing like he did last week for 2 or 3 of the races, I think that'd be But I'm probably saying 6 or 7. I still think they're doing. I think Leclerc's still carrying that votes up a couple of points above average there.
Yeah.
Showing that the Ferrari can still, it's still got a bit of juice in it. And I mean, Vettel's new chassis might have helped him on the weekend or whatever. But I think next few weeks, I reckon they might be putting on a bit of pressure up the top towards, bottom of the podium to top 5, top 6. I reckon they'll start putting on a bit of pressure on the Racing Point and McLaren crew, that's for sure. So I'll probably go 7 for the boys.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'll probably go 6. They, as you suggested, they are starting to catch McLaren Racing Point as well, except the weekend Racing Point kind of had a bit of a win over them. But yeah, I think that's adjusting their expectations after week 3, not like with preseason expectations. But yeah, I think Leclerc coming 3rd and 4th, and then Seb picking up a 7th. I think there are 3 pretty good results. So yeah, I'll give them a 6. And then we roll into another Ferrari engine, so we'll get those 3 dud engines out of the way. But Haas, another team, pretty tough to rate. They've had 2 DNFs, so 2 out of 6 we can't really talk too much about. And then apart from that, they haven't finished inside the top 14. They had a 15th, 2 16ths, and a 19th. It's a hard one, isn't it?
I think I'm looking towards a 4-ish.
Yeah, I think they've got to be just below. I think they've got to be below Alpha. I reckon.
I think for what they were probably expecting, probably underperforming. I think they would have liked to have been pushing points this year, but they haven't even looked that close or competitive, really. I mean, DNF on the weekend with last, I think, with Grosjean, because Leclerc DNF'd, and then K-Mag the week before DNF. It's just I don't know, they're not doing anything for me.
Yeah, I don't even know if a 4 is. I think I might go with 3 actually.
Looking at the results now, just on my computer behind here, it looks.
Yeah, it's not great.
No.
I know Magnussen. I think one of his crashes was a bit unlucky, but like to be throwing away a qualifying position of 14th, crashing very early on in the race. Like that's pretty poor. I think you might have even crashed on lap 1 or something. That's pretty average stuff from them.
Yeah, I think.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to give them a 3, just because if you compare them to like Alpha, I don't think they compare very well. So yeah, I'll go 3 there.
Yeah, not good for the Haas boys. They're just getting rolled.
Yeah. And then we look at the McLarens. So I can't lie, they've had a bit of an average 3 weeks, McLaren. Especially after what we saw in the first 3. I started getting my hopes up a bit. I thought, they might even push like Red Bull for second place or something in the standings, but they've seriously dropped away. And as we just mentioned earlier, Ferrari are catching them, and after next weekend, they could well and truly start slipping down that leaderboard.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know. It's been a tough month for them.
Yeah. Well, they had a good showing from Lando in the first Silverstone with a 5th.
Yeah.
But, when Carlos comes 13th, it's like, well, they really could have made something out of those points. So
Carlos I love Carlos. He's probably my favorite driver out of the 20. But he has been a letdown this year. Last year, everyone was going on about how he's like the best of the rest. He's the best driver that wasn't with Ferrari, Red Bull, or Mercedes. He signed up for next year with the big boys, and now he's pumping out 13ths in a car that Norris is getting 5ths and podiums with.
Yeah.
I don't think it's great from him, to be honest. But good result on the weekend, I guess.
Yeah, that saved him a bit, I think. But back-to-back 13ths, I think, in the first 2 weeks, and then big showing on the weekend for a 6th from him. I mean, he always does well, and it seems to be his favourite race, his hometown. But he's been pretty average. I think Lando, I don't know if his first few weeks were just, I don't know, a bit just out of the blue and bit of a shock. I don't think he's been up to that level at all. He had a 9th, I think. They've just slipped off the top. I think they're just.
Yeah.
I think they might be to a level that maybe is a bit more accurate. I think the first weeks might be a bit misleading.
Yeah, well, as we were talking about at the start with Giovinazzi, the first round, everyone's positions are so misleading.
Yeah.
Like McLaren, I know this is before the 3 weeks we're meant to be talking about, but they came 3rd and 5th in Austria, and there was only 11 people in it. So if you think about it, if there was 20 people there, that's probably like a 6th and a 9th, which is probably what we expect of them. So yeah, I do agree with what you're saying. I think the first 2 weeks were probably a little bit misleading for McLaren.
Yeah, for sure.
So in saying that, it's tough to place them really, because we don't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
I think I might just go a 5, because
I think
this is probably
accurate with
what I would have.
I think next 2 weeks probably show us if they've been slacking the last few weeks, or if it's on the money, or what's going to happen with them. But yeah, I don't think they haven't done what they did the first 3 weeks at all, any justice, and then some pretty average results. I think Sainz lost to a Russell Russell beaten by a Posse on one weekend as well. Like, you just wouldn't back the McLaren to lose to a Williams if you're at the start of the year. Like, just don't see it happening.
Yeah, and I know this has happened in a few races, but Sainz has been like really struggling to get past Seb, and the McLaren seems to be faster than the Ferrari. So
yeah,
interesting stuff there. But yeah, I'll go a 5. If you look at the 5th from Norris 3 weeks ago, and then Carlos's 6th last week, that probably looks at like an 8 out of 10 or something. And then Carlos's 13th probably push that down to 3. So if you 2. So if you average that out, it's probably spot on a 5.
Yeah, around middle.
Yeah, so that's probably exactly what we would have expected, McLaren. But yeah, I think they're still, in terms of my overall team standings, I think they're still. Oh no, they've dropped down to 5th for me in the votes. That hurts. Come on, boys. But Norris is up there for best driver, but I think Sainz is right down there in like 17th or something.
Yeah,
yeah. And then in terms, the Mercedes is next up. Look, not much to really say. They've just been Mercedes. Obviously had the drama at Silverstone version 1 with the tyres well, basically exploding.
boring race until the last lap 45 or something, and then
Yeah.
everything hit the fan.
I think that's been, or I don't know, but I think that's been race of the year for me, just because that last, as you said, it was a roller coaster. Because like I was getting a bit annoyed at like lap 30. I'm like, oh, this is going to be the most boring race ever. I've stayed up to like 1:30 watching this rubbish, and then bang, the last 3 laps, everyone just tires start just popping. Everyone's everyone's pitting in the last lap, and then like the whole Max chasing Hamilton down with like 2 tires. Oh, it was epic. So that's probably the race of the year for me so far. But yeah, Bottas came 11th in that because he had to pit on the last lap.
Crucial.
Hamilton did get the win though, and then the 70th GP they were 2nd and 3rd on the podium behind Max, and then on the weekend 1st and 3rd with Hamilton winning it. Hamilton's, let's be real, he's pretty much won.
Yeah, he's home and hosed today.
I think for Max to win, he'd have to have a few retirements.
From Lewis.
Because the thing is, even if Max wins races, Hamilton's just going to come 2nd or 3rd, and then all of a sudden that's not that much of a points discrepancy.
So he's too far behind now. Where 7 points doesn't matter.
Where like Max needs to win a race, and Lewis, has some issues or gets a penalty and drops down to 10th or like 15th or something. But yeah, it's looking like Hamilton's going to go again for another championship.
Yeah.
But in terms of this month, geez, it's tough because Bottas did have that 11th, and then the next week they didn't win, which is not good for Mercedes because that's how much we expect from them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
This is tough because if we're really going to look at their expectations, it could almost be below expectations.
Yeah, because they should be top 2.
But that's so harsh.
They should be top 2 in most weeks, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to give them a 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
Just because we would expect a podium if Bottas's 11th was a podium, I'd maybe say a 6 or a 7. Nah, that's
crazy.
stiff. I'd maybe say a 7, but honestly, Bottas's 11th is nuking it down to a 4.
Yeah. He's I think the team, I don't know if he's getting shafted over by the team or what's going on, but yeah, he just hasn't been at Lewis's level whatsoever.
Yeah. Oh well, he can cop it.
Yeah.
Seems like a boring, grumpy bloke.
Yeah, a bit of a shit bloke. Especially in his post-race interviews, he's copped like a 2nd or a 3rd, and he's devastated. And it's like, come on, mate. End of the day.
Yeah. And then there's like Max and Lewis just cracking gags.
Yeah.
So what rating are you gonna go? Don't be influenced by mine. Feel free to get around them.
Nah, I think a 4. I think even a 3. I think Bottas has really let down the boys, and I think letting Max catch him when the Mercedes car is just so superior. Yeah. But I mean, Max beats Bottas by 20 seconds in Spain on the weekend. Like, that's a big gap. And I know the top 3 they were so far ahead of everyone else, but 20 seconds is a lot. And then, I mean, another 7 seconds behind, or 8 seconds behind Lewis the week before, and Max trumps them both. It's just a bit. They would have loved to just seen 1 and 2 every week, and I think that's what their car is capable of. And then, I mean, Bottas's 11th it's unheard of. I wonder what it was paying to see Mercedes outside the top 10. Like, come on.
Yeah, and each week they've qualified in the front row, so Bottas has dropped a place.
Yeah.
He hasn't come in the top 2, so he's dropping places. It's like on the weekend, he just went backwards for stuff.
Yeah, that was terrible. Yeah, I'm going to give him a 3. I'm going to crack the whip on the boys.
Yes, I like it.
Crack the whip.
Cop it, Toto.
Toto's a bad bloke.
But yeah. On the weekend, he seemed like a larrikin.
Yeah, he just rolled up to Christian Horner.
Christian Horner.
Going. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good footy.
Bottas has been a bit of a stinker.
Yeah. All right, now we're on to some more positive. I think the next 4 will be happy. I think we've only given 1 score above 5, so we've been a bit harsh. we've had Racing Point, so they've obviously had some issues with Sergio Perez getting COVID or whatever.
Yeah, stiff.
And the Hulkenberg came in for 2 races, didn't start in the British Grand Prix, but started in the 70th Grand Prix, and then Perez was back for Spain. What did you think of their 3 weeks?
I think Nico not starting in Britain hurts, but I think the boys have actually done pretty well. I mean, they qualified unbelievably on the weekend. I think they were 3rd and 4th or something, backing each other in, and then 6th and 7th in the 70th, I believe. Looking here, Nico was hanging around 4th and 5th, I think, in that race as well, and then I think they went for a fastest lap or something that didn't pay off, or something happened there. But I think they've been pretty good, and I think the car's moving pretty well. Lance is just cruising through. Looking at Spain, Lance and Perez 4th and 5th. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
beating Ferraris, McLaren, or Red Bull, both McLarens. The Renault boys are pretty far back. The car seems to be moving pretty quickly down at our Racing Point. That Mercedes copying from 2019, whatever they're doing with it, it seems to be working with that engine as well. It seems to be producing some speed.
I'm going to get them a 6. Like, I know we know they're fast now, but just with the whole Hulkenberg situation, I'll cut them some slack with that. I don't think you can expect him to go into a car on Thursday and, qualify well and win the race. Yeah, and he didn't start, so it's not really. Well, I guess it's the team's fault, but yeah. And then he qualified 3rd in the 70th Grand Prix, which was pretty elite, and then finished 7th, which, as you said, was a bit unlucky given his position for most of the race.
Yeah.
But still, that was only his 2nd week in the car, so I think they deserve some slack for that. So yeah, I'll go a 6.
Yeah.
I think the weekend really won it over for me as well. 4th and 5th there was elite.
Yeah, I think I might hang around a 6 as well. I think if they're Silverstone in week 1 of the 3 we're talking about, if that was a bit better, I think Stroll had a 9th and then a did not start. I think if that's converted around 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th kind of positioning, I reckon they're a 7 or 8 for me, but I'll give them a 6.
Yeah. And then that moves us into the Red Bulls. Albon and Verstappen had very opposite months.
Almost.
Verstappen has been 2-1-2, and then Albon went 8th, 5th, and 8th. As we were saying before we came on air, it's kind of tough to judge Red Bull because there's 2 different stories going on here. Albon, as you said off air, he's been actually racing pretty well, but the qualifying is just not great.
No, just been a bit underwhelming, I think.
Like qualifying 12th in the first British race, like that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
With a car that's
winning race,
like
really
capable of winning races, yeah. That's pretty poor. And then on the weekend, he actually went backwards, qualified in 6th, finished in 8th.
Yeah.
So
I think the weekend I think they busted up a strategy that just
they cooked that, didn't they?
Yeah, so that's a bit harsh on the bloke, but I think they put the hards on or something when everyone else was meds, something like that, really early, and he just couldn't get anywhere. But yeah, definitely 2 different tales here. Max,
it's tough. Max, I think I might rate them both and then just give an average.
Max has been so good to watch.
Can Max get anything other than can he get a 10?
He's got it.
Nah.
I thought he'd be.
Well, should we give him a 9 as a bloke?
No, mate. He's
he won a race against the Mercedes and he's beaten Bottas twice. We'll give him a 10.
He's saying, "What are we doing? Why do we want to go slow?"
Yeah,
yeah. 10. What a man!
And he's cracking gags over the radio.
Sanitized boy, mate. There's my new crush, maybe. Old Maxi Verstappen.
Yeah. So I love him. So he's getting 10, and then what's Albon getting? And then we can work out the average. I think for me, Albon's got to be below. I think I'm putting him below a 5 because I'd expect more from a Red Bull.
Sure. I think
I'll go a 4, and then they can get a 7 out of 10.
Yeah,
that's probably pretty generous, actually, a 4. But
I think 6 maybe for a team as a whole, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved Albon coming into the season. I still love him as a bloke. I don't think he's raced to his potential, maybe. And I've always liked Max as my fellow Dutchman, but he might be taking my new favourite driver just for his attitude and how well he drives. Just love.
Yeah, 6 or 7.
He's so
It's
good.
probably. Yeah, I love Maxi. 7's probably too generous if we gave Racing Point a 6.
I'm going 6 for Red Bull. I think.
Yeah, no, I'm
What-
agreeing with you there. 4's too generous for Albon, so I'll go 6 as well. And then Renault, they've been a bit of up and down. They did really well in the British Grand Prix. They came 4th and 6th.
Yeah, boys were flying.
But then on the weekend, they did improve their qualifying positions, but both finished out of the points. And then at the 70th, it came 14th and 8th.
Yeah, Danny Rick had a spin in. Was it the weekend or the weekend before?
I think it was the weekend before.
I think
because he
he was-
qualified in 5th and came 14th, so there must be a reason there.
Yeah,
I can't
he was
remember.
looking really good around 4th, 5th, maybe even pushing
Yeah.
3rd, and then I think he's been pushing the car pretty well, and I think Ocon's been all right. I think, but I think if he can find a bit more comfortable and seems to push it a bit, I reckon the boys will be pushing hard in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I actually think they've done pretty well because I think out of that mid pack, excluding AlphaTauri, I would probably have the lowest expectations for them. Like I'd probably expect more from McLaren and Racing Point.
Yeah, for sure.
But they've been doing pretty well. 4th, 6th, 8th. They're all pretty good results for Renault at this stage. So I think we keep giving out 6s, but I think I'll go another 6.
Is the 6 the new average marker?
Yeah, it might even be a 7, but I'll go a 6.
Yeah, I think it's the 70th with it. Oh no, Spain.
They
was a bit.
they've bettered their starting grid position in every 5 out of the 6. Ricardo at the 70th was the only time they haven't bettered their grid position, so they've been doing pretty well in the races.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the 4th, 6th, and 8th they'll take that any day, and then even the 11th that's probably where we'd expect to see them. So
yeah,
I think actually I'll go a 7th. I'll go a 7 out of 10. Why not?
Yeah,
change it up.
A spin and he cops an 11th or something. I mean that's pretty good. Pretty stiff in him there. I think it was partly his fault as well, but the boys have been pressing pretty well. I'll go 6 or 7.
Yeah, I think that 4th and 6th and the first one was very impressive, so I'll go a 7.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably 6 is probably fair as well. And then rounding us out before we go to the awards, Williams. Oh, this is another hard one, isn't it? They did pretty well in the British Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Russell came 12th and Latifi came 15th.
Showed some
since then,
some pressure.
Yeah, since then it's not been great.
Russell's been driving pretty well.
Yeah.
After the results, he's been putting up some big battles in that car he's in. So
yeah, they would be a little bit disappointed with qualifying because in the Hungary Grand Prix, the last one of the last group of 3, they both made it out of the first qualifying section. So they would have maybe been hoping for a few more of those, and it's only happened once. It's tough because that British Grand Prix result is very good because we've got to remember it's Williams and a 12th doesn't come every day of the week.
No, that'd be so close to points. But,
who did he beat in that race? Sainz.
He rolled some people.
That's pretty. He beat the Alphas, beat the Haas. This is a tough one because
it might have to be another 6 in my books.
Yeah, I think it is because we have such low expectations for them. Anything that's not the back of the grid is actually like a positive. Yeah, they beat Grosjean on the weekend, which I think they'll take. But yeah, I'll give them a 6. That British Grand Prix is pretty bloody good from them. I'm tempted to go a 7 just for that, but they did come back with the grid on the 70th, so I'll go easy. Yeah, I'll give them a 6.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. They seem to be rolling a Haas every other week or something, so positive something for Williams. But I think 6. Yeah,
all right, so that brings us to our end of 3-week awards. It's a great phrase there.
Yeah.
In terms of driver of the section, who are you backing in?
Jeez.
I'm going off my votes for this one.
You
may as well use them for something.
Driver of the 3 weeks.
I think I'm going.
It could have been Gasly, I think, if he had done a touch better in some of the races.
I think I'm going Gasly. Oh no, I forgot about Max.
Yeah, I'm Maxi, money man.
I'm going Max, Gasly second, Leclerc third. If it wasn't for Leclerc's DNF, I'd probably be looking at him for first. But
I think probably an 11th in the 70th. I think maybe
Ocon's been pretty good as well. Actually, a 6th and an 8th in a Renault. That's pretty handy.
Yeah, that's a bit under the radar actually. But I think I can't go past Maxi for one.
Yeah.
He's just speed, more speed. I'm pretty happy with your order, to be honest. I think Gasly's been pretty surprising, pretty stiff not to have Hamilton in there, considering he's just speed, and he was pretty stiff to Max with his tires. But yeah, I think your 3 is pretty good. I like it.
All right, now not to be negative, I don't like roasting people, but if we have to give a worst driver or most disappointing to phrase it a little bit better, who are we backing in? This is a tough one. I can't really think of who we.
Maybe a Roman.
Oh, spicy.
I mean, he's got.
That Roman has got to be up there. Maybe. Oh, this is tough. Who just gets smacked by their teammate every week?
Look at the results. Roman who just gets last out of all.
Oh, is this harsh? But I think Albon's up there. Just because he's getting poleaxed by his teammate every single week.
Well, Albon's had a 5th, which I think maybe keeps him.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe
that's the same as I was looking at Vettel, but he had a 7th, which isn't too bad. Sainz as well, he had a 6th, which isn't too bad.
I think one race is saving some people here.
Bottas.
Imagine.
Podium every race.
What about Gio here?
Oh no, 11th in the
16.
Oh yeah, but we can't be expecting much from Gio, surely.
You're not wrong.
17. No, this is hard. This is absolute rubbish podcasting.
I'm gonna back in Rome on here, I reckon. He's pretty stinky.
Actually, I'm going K-Mag. Keep the car on the track, mate.
The Haas boys are going to slap.
For God's sake, you've qualified in 14th and you've just crashed first lap or something. So yeah, cop Haas. And then best team. What are we backing in? Ooh, this is spicy. I think I might go the. Good. I think we rated AlphaTauri highest, and I think that's who I'm going to go. I think they've been pretty good.
They had Annie Kvyat didn't start Silverstone, which could have been some more.
Yeah,
I think they're definitely worth a mention, the boys.
Yeah, 3 points finishes.
I mean, a 10 and
probably wouldn't predict many.
10 or 11 could have been something if they finished more.
Yeah,
then I'd definitely give it to them. But I'd say Alpha or Racing Point.
Yeah, AlphaTauri, that is.
Not
Alfa Romeo.
No, God no.
I was worried there. All right. And then in terms of the whole season so far, since we're halfway through, this is another tough one. We haven't really prepared this, but driver of the season so far. Oh, it's hard.
I was looking at some of the power rankings before, and they've still got Lewis as top.
Oh yeah, but that's dog act.
Yeah, Mac.
Oh, I would go Charles, but he has DNF'd 2 races now.
Yeah,
but he's dealing with an absolute piece of crap.
It's a genuine box on wheels.
Oh, I don't want this to just be the Verstappen show, but he's been podium every time he's finished a race.
I think Lando could have been up there if he.
Oh yeah, Lando is 4th in my
If he had some
points.
Better races over the past few weeks, I think he could definitely be standing.
Yeah, my
Stroll's in 5th on the driver's standings. I did not expect to see that.
That's a pretty good effort.
Including Albon, Norris, Perez, Sainz. I did not expect to see Lance up there.
Well, yeah, if we look at the drive, who are we least expecting? Sergio Perez is doing pretty well, given the fact that he missed 2 races, but like that, we can't give it to him based on that. Norris in 7th, that's also pretty spicy. But yeah, it's kind of hard to go past Stroll, actually. I can't lie, I haven't given him too many points in my Brownlow thing. My driver standings in my Brownlow thing are Leclerc and Hamilton have 11. Verstappen has 10.
Oh,
Norris has 9.
it's close.
Yeah. For Hamilton, I know we have high expectations, but there are a couple times he just won by like 30 seconds, so I kind of have to give him something. But yeah, that's a tough one. And then in terms of most disappointing driver of the year, I'm going to the driver championships again. Who's down there that should not be?
Roman.
Yeah, once again, Roman finishing below the Alfa Romeos and the Williams. Lift brother.
Arguably, Danny Kvyat's been a bit underwhelming.
Yeah.
Gasly's pumping out.
I think Vettel, though, like I know it's his car, but for him to be in 11th, that's pretty average.
Yeah.
When Charles is in at 4th.
He took some big points on the weekend, so he could be even.
Yeah. Carlos as well, losing to Norris. I don't think many people would have expected that.
Yeah. He's not
and then
so far behind.
Yeah, he's not.
But he's
not.
Still,
he might still finish the season above him, but
big gap.
Yeah. And then in terms of the team, unless you've got anyone else you want to roast on.
No, it's not looking.
Who's team of the year so far? I think I'm gonna have to go Racing Point.
Yeah.
I know we were expecting them to be good from like preseason practice and stuff like that, but still they've been pretty elite. Like to see them 4th and 5th on the weekend was just an example of how elite they've been.
Nico Hülkenberg sitting 14th on the driver's standings from his 2 races. I was like, did they give points to Sergio Perez or anything? And then I've just seen his name pop up. And he's beaten some of the boys, so that's pretty
Yeah, Grosjean's coming 21st out of 20. So, pretty average, mate. I want to lift there. But yeah, in terms of
I think Racing Point's best team.
Yeah, them to be sitting in 3rd, if it wasn't for Max being a freak, they'd probably be pushing for 2nd as well. That's pretty elite. AlphaTauri, as we said, probably a lot better than we expected. We thought they were probably going to be around Haas and Alfa Romeo, but they seem to be a level above thanks to Pierre Gasly most of the time.
They're just in between the Renault
and
other Alpha.
And then McLaren, if you look at their best result in each race, it's pretty good, but then the worst result is letting them down. They had from Hungary in the 2 British races, their second result was 13th, which is probably not great. But still pretty decent there. And then in terms of the old worst team or most disappointing team, this is tough. I guess it's still got to be Ferrari, does it? Or should we adjust our expectations?
Like, if Charles finishes on the weekend, I'm saying Ferrari goes 3rd on the table.
Yeah,
and like seeing what their car's done, that's very generous, I think.
Yeah. That's true.
Worst team.
I know we keep crapping on them, but Haas. They've had 4 retirements. Like, they're not even giving themselves a chance. Like, at least Alfa Romeo and Williams are keeping the cars on the track.
1 point, which I'm guessing was from week 1 as well.
It was week 3, actually. Oh. I don't recall that. Oh, that was the week where they took that gamble in the wet. And they were like 3rd and 4th for like 20 laps. And they just slid down.
They just kept gliding off the top.
Yeah. Renault. I don't know how I feel about Renault. I guess 6th is probably exactly where we would have predicted them. But
yeah, I think somewhat Renault maybe slightly disappointing, if anything.
Yeah. Comparing themselves to McLaren and Racing
Point. They would have been expecting, probably a bit disappointing. I don't know about the view.
Yeah.
Expectations.
No, I 100% agree with that call, actually. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I hate to say it, but it's a pretty predictable sport. So there's not too much like...
Yeah, it's tough.
Most teams are kind of performing the way we expect. But yeah, that's pretty much all we've got, really. Looking forward to the next block of 3 races. 2 in Italy, 1 in Belgium, as you said before. Looking forward to it. Hopefully Max gets a win in Belgium. Lewis has a crash.
Love to see some in the top 5, that's for sure. Honestly.
Mate, imagine Belgium, Lewis retires, Max wins, all of a sudden the gap's like 10. That would be spicy scenes.
Bring it in.
but it's not happening. Let's be real. Lewis is too good for that.
Yeah, it doesn't crash.
But yeah, that's pretty much all we've got. That's all the F1 stuff we've got. I know you've been watching the basketball.
Yeah, watched the Lakers yesterday. The Blazers,
yeah, there's been quite a few upsets, hasn't there?
The Blazers are looking like they're playing some pretty good basketball. I mean,
yeah, and then there's quite a few series that look like they could go to 6 or 7 games. I know the Jazz beat the Nuggets this morning.
Yeah,
that looks like it's going to be a good series.
I think that'll be back and forth.
And Houston, OKC.
I think
the Magic beat the Bucks, but I can't see.
You can't see
that going.
Times.
Nah,
I think Bruce
struggling to see that.
He clutched up on the weekend and produced a big performance, but not the weekend.
Yeah, and then the Mavs are pushing the Clippers. I think they're playing now. I don't know how they're going, but the first game was close.
Big shout out to Jack Broadbent. He just sent a message to our little chat with the three of us, and he said this is a good game.
Oh yeah.
So I'll quickly get a score update for us here on the podcast.
Yeah, live score updates with Peanut. 53rd minute of the potty.
Third quarter, I think 2:41 left. Mavs up by 4. Absolute.
Ooh.
I don't know if this time is counting up or down, but it says third quarter 2:28. So,
could set up the series at 1-1.
Imagine Kawhi's dropped 27 already. My goodness. Lou Williams,
mate. I don't know if it's just our friend group, but sports betting seems to be skyrocketing in popularity. I think it's because the first lockdown we didn't have sport.
Yeah.
So we didn't really notice it.
I think I'm gonna just nothing went my way on the past few days. I think I'm gonna put the brakes on my input to that conversation.
Yeah.
But Luka's dropped 26, 8 boards, 7 assists. Porzingis 16 points so far. Oh, the clock's counting down actually. So Mavs up by 5. 2 minutes left in the third. I might jump KO after this to give that a watch for sure.
Yeah, the people listening would know the result.
Yeah,
which is pretty magical.
Sorry, lads. But Broadbent's getting around it at the moment, so I might join him on a KO sesh. But I'm excited for these playoffs. I think there's going to be some real good. Well, Pacers Heat, I think, could go to 5 or 6, but I'm backing the boys in here.
The boys. Yeah.
Jimmy Buckets, produced a couple of days. I think the Rockets.
Yeah, the Rocket. Yeah,
I think that might actually get him quite comfortably. I think James Harden's.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that the Celtics are dispatching the 76ers.
I don't think it'd be that much of a blowout, but I think I'd back in the Celtics to beat 70.
Yeah, they've won the first 2 fairly comfortably, but that's all we've got for you today. Thanks for listening to episode 53 of the potty. Thanks for joining me, Peanut.
No worries.
I can't lie, these F1 potties are slowly becoming my favourites. I look forward to them every time. Well, it's only been 2 now. But...
We had a pretty average 3 weeks to talk about, to be honest, if it wasn't for Max winning. The racing's been pretty boring.
If it wasn't for the last 2 laps of the British Grand Prix,
I think there's
would have been a pretty dull
to what actually happened throughout the whole race. But I'm excited to see what happens at Spa and in Italy and stuff. So I'm pretty keen. Got my KO now, so I can watch along at home.
That's good.
But
that's a big change. I like that.
Always have to discuss the sport, and I'm claiming it is sport.
So anyway, thanks for listening. If you've gotten to this point, thanks for joining me, Nut, and see you guys next time. Bye.
See you guys.